How do you put into context what a terror Donald was for opposing quarterbacks the last decade?
Howie Long and I sit there and watch that cat. Nobody can touch that dude. Nobody.
Right.
That dude is unbelievable.
Aaron Donald is a man amongst boys. He's something to behold.
AD is an undoubted first ballot Yellow Jacket player and had what I consider to be the most perfect defensive career of all time.
What's left?
You know?
3-time Defensive Player of the Year. World champion. Pro Bowls, All Pros.
I don't know.
Matched by none.
He may be too humble to call it the greatest of all time.
When you a defensive tackle, you got the world talking about the greatest of all time, and he might be the greatest of all time. You talk about Lawrence Taylor and all these great players. It's like, if anything, it's a compliment to me.
But I am not. I firmly believe Donald just wrapped up every defensive player's dream career. He provided LA Ram fans with 10 years of excellent play, scared the crap out of opposing quarterbacks, and I, for one, am here to celebrate his greatness. In this video, we are going to take a moment to recognize and highlight Aaron's entry into the NFL, his accomplishments, and the case for having a true storybook NFL career unlike any defender in NFL history. Welcome back to Unlikely Success. Like, comment, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into Aaron Donald's Hall of Fame career and why I believe this is the most perfect defensive career of all time. Starting our story with the 2014 draft, Aaron at the time was considered an undersized defensive tackle with explosive ability.
There are some concerns where, and I don't buy into it, but there are teams that say he's too short, he's too small. If he doesn't win immediately with quickness, he's done.
Donald was seen as a dynamic pass rusher with good skills, but that his size was likely to limit his impact. He was the 5th defensive player taken in the first round and the 2nd pick of the Rams, which, in a special thanks to the Washington Commander organization, because without them, this career never happens. And this is the most impactful player in Rams franchise history. He is objectively the best player from the 2014 draft class. And this is saying something, because this is a class that includes Mike Evans, Zach Martin, Devontae Adams, Khalil Mack, and OBJ. Not too bad for a rookie class. When Donald hit the field in 2014 as a rookie, he put all doubts by any pundits or evaluators to bed, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year and making the Pro Bowl team. Over AD's decade-long dominant run in the NFL, he would lose a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, be awarded 3 Defensive Players of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, make the NFL All-Pro team 8 times, the Pro Bowl roster all 10 seasons, and compile 543 tackles that pair very nicely with his 111 sacks. All of this while facing more double and triple teams than anyone else in the NFL as an undersized defensive tackle.
There's no greater respect in the National Football League where we're all professionals when the opposing team puts not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 guys to block you, Kev. There's no greater respect in this league where we're all professionals than when they do that.
I'm telling you, Aaron Donald was an absolute monster in the NFL. And all of us Rams fans know it, but it's not just us. Media, former players, and the entire NFL community could not help but be in awe of this undersized lineman who was changing the position forever. Ryan Clark even went as far as to call him the Michael Jordan of football. The Michael Jordan. Take a listen for yourself.
Aaron Donald is the Michael Jordan of football. The gap between him and the next dude that plays his position is so huge, it's unbelievable.
In 2018, he should have been the NFL MVP, but that award is no longer considered for defensive players or even really any non-quarterbacks. He had 20.5 sacks, and a very strong case could be made that it's the greatest season ever from a defensive player. But that's for another video. His sheer domination at his primary position already lands him as the best defensive tackle of all time. But my stance is that Donald had the most perfect defensive career in NFL history. The other candidates for this would be Lawrence Taylor, J.J. Watt, Reggie White, Deion Sanders, and Ray Lewis, all of whom had tremendous NFL careers, and this video is not here to slander any of them. Every one of these players deserves to be in the conversation as the best defensive player in history. And I am not even making the case, at least in this video, that Donald has to be considered the best player in history. I simply believe he had the best, most perfect defensive career a player could have ever had. A decade of dominance without seeing a diminished version of Donald is impressive. And if this were Mortal Kombat, we would consider this a
flawless victory.
The pockmarks on Aaron's career would be centered around a few incidents on the field that are considered dirty by some NFL teams. That's it. My rebuttal would be that these pale in comparison to some of the truly dirty plays seen in the past. And if you were to truly go searching, there are probably similar complaints about every one of the great players listed in this conversation. All great defensive players have some nastiness. It is part of what makes them great. Defense is about hitting and imposing your will as the offense attempts to score. It is not about making friends and politely asking the offense to stop. In a decade owned by AD, he led multiple great defensive teams, played like a superstar, intimidated opponents, and became the best player in his franchise's history. That's got to count for something in this conversation. We never saw him have a bad season. The closest we came was 2022, which was cut short due to injury, and he quickly bounced back to all-pro form in 2023. I may not be able to convince you that Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in NFL history, but can we agree that this career is pretty storybook, right? I mean, this is a movie. My point in this video has been aimed at the fact that Aaron Donald was a winner on the field, put up great numbers, stayed out of trouble, and kept his career short enough to never have a bad year. Let me know if you disagree in the comments, because aside from winning more games, I cannot see where Aaron Donald's career falls short when compared to past defensive greats. I mean, it's Barry Sanders-like, really. Donald played with an edge in a violent game, and he had to. He was a sub-300-pound defensive tackle who faced constant double and triple teams and sometimes more. And the edge he played with is what made him great. LT may not be willing to acknowledge AD as a top 5 defensive player, but football fans, writers, and the Hall of Fame definitely will. What do you think? Did Aaron Donald have a Hollywood film defensive career, or am I just being a homer for my beloved Rams? This has been The Unlikely Success.
He'll be the 6th first ballot Hall of Fame defensive tackle, behind me, Mean Joe Green, Merlin Olsen, Bob Lilly, and Randy White.
It was always, it wasn't what everybody else thought. If my dad was to say, you did a great job and you did I didn't care what nobody else said. Like my dad always said, if he love it, if he like it, everybody else is gonna love it.